Day 48 of a beautiful day as always. A little bit windy, so sorry for the wind if you can hear it. We're meeting the engineer on site this morning, as I said last night. 8 o'clock meeting to discuss obviously the engineering elements for upstairs, which are going to be taking place in the next 2 to 3 weeks, but the engineer needs to start the drawings as soon as possible. But we also need to talk about obviously the size issues that we found now that it's gone from a container build to a block build. Technically on the what we call the beach side, that side there's going to be 3 columns. They were going to be containers, so they were dictated, but now they're going to be block. We're going to have no choice but to make them 12 inch, so that's increased the actual width of the house by 3 feet. Doors have already been manufactured, so the doors have no choice but to fit in a certain size hole. So we're going to have to actually change the width of the house, and I think at the moment it's going from 34.5, 35 feet to about 40 feet. But today they literally started, yesterday they started obviously forming all of the actual pillars on the rear wall, which I'll show you. So they started doing this boxing. So we boxed the pillars, rather than bricking them like these ones here. These corner ones are actually made out of concrete, so they box them up and fill them. But that's been pointed out. Rather than screwing it, they nail it, and as a result of that the concrete's pushed that out. So I'm not too sure why they don't screw that. So now today they've got to take all of that off, and they've actually got to chisel that back, which is going to be a real waste of time. But anyway, it's got to be done. South, this wall is, so apart from the top piece, it's nearly done. They've rebarred the actual top piece, which means they just now box it and pour it. And that gives it the height that's needed with a square flush finish. So that should hopefully be done. The walls, ideally, have taken quite some time, but hopefully they should be done today. And then after the meeting with the engineer, we should have an idea about setting out on the floor, and we should be able to start that. One thing we do need to do is to finish this. This is the miscalculation from the last builders. We had to extend this element to accompany the actual size of the plot itself. So that's still got to be compact tested, rolled, filled with marl and taken up to level. The level being the original swimming pool level, this level here. But obviously now what might happen is we might have to come down here by 6 feet, which would be a real shame because I don't want to lose this piece. I want this to be, you know, grass or ground that we can utilise. So if we're going to come into here by another 6 feet, it's already going to eat into that. So I hope we don't have to do that, but I'm pretty sure we will, because the house itself is going to have to extend from those batter balls there. It's going to have to come out by another 6 feet. So do I eat into the actual patio area and keep this as it is, or do I just move the whole thing down by 6 feet? That's the decision I've got to make today, which will be heavily influenced by what the engineer has to say. And then I might have to re-engage the architect as well once we've done that as well, because obviously all the drawings have got to change. And the drawings have also got to be resubmitted, so that's going to be interesting. The rebar manager, he's just arrived, so obviously he's going to want to have a good look at what's going on today. He'll also be forming part of this meeting potentially at 8 o'clock, so we'll have a good chat with him now and make sure he's in there. But anyway, I'll update you throughout the day. The red flag has risen. Our first piece of mail. Light and power. Obviously it's going to be a bill. Flag back down. Thanks for the bill. Okay, so returned at 5:15. Let's have a quick look. So I started rendering the main wall. Covered up underneath. And the rear wall as well. Right over there. Also started finishing off the boxing off. So let's have a quick look. So they render, obviously let go off and then sponge straight. So there we go, there's the finish. Hi buddy, how are you? You alright?
More thing here?
Yeah. So that's technically what the finish looks like after they polish it with sponge. As you can see, they've left the top part because they still need to box that in. As you can see at the back, they're boxing that in, ready to pour the concrete to get to height. That'll be the same all the way along. So they'll still need to do that with this part of the wall. that's obviously boxed off here, and that will be a return. The return itself will come around here to here somewhere. Alright, so, and that will be both sides as well, so that needs to be done on both. The sun is crazy warm tonight. Crazy warm. Not done anything on the back walls yet. I've got to let that go off. That make sense?